Vicente Luque versus Belal Muhammad this past weekend at UFC Vegas 51, right? It was a fight that Belal Muhammad won. It was a fight that Belal Muhammad won pretty convincingly, and it was a fight that put Belal Muhammad among the top tier of the welterweight division now, if he wasn't already. He proved he's legit. He's a legit guy, and he's a smart guy. What I got from that fight is, you look at it, and we spoke on it a little bit throughout I think in the last episode we talked about Belal Muhammad a little bit, how, the guy doesn't finish people very much, right? 4 finishes in like 20 fights, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines. So very low finish rate. The guy's always going to decision for the most part, right? So, I mean, this fight was nothing different. This fight was exactly like that in the sense that he did what he had to do and rode out the fight through 5 rounds and won the fight. Nothing exciting. I mean, would I say boring? Not really, but just nothing exciting. And by nothing exciting, I think that's what brought a lot of this hate, a lot of this stuff that we're seeing now, a lot of the bashing of Belal Muhammad on Twitter, etc. We're going to get into that. But, yeah, you can see in this fight why Belal Muhammad goes to so many decisions. He's clearly a fighter that has no intention of really finishing the fight. If it's there, he'll finish it, right? But you could tell this is a guy that is merely looking to outscore you, so to speak. He's looking to win on the judges' scorecards every time, just make it obvious that he's going to win. For the most part, uses wrestling, his grappling, and then if he has to, maintain in the stand-up department for some time, he can do that. He looked like he could do it. He's landed some shots, some nice 1-2s on Luque throughout this fight. So I'm thinking he's good. He's legit. Again, though, you could tell why he doesn't finish fights, because he's not going in there necessarily to take the guy's head off. You know what I mean? Like some guys. Like Luque is going in there to finish the fight. If this fight would have stayed standing the whole fight, I don't think anyone would disagree with me in saying that Vicente Luque would have won the fight. On the feet, it was clear Vicente Luque was doing well. The reason Belal Muhammad got so many takedowns successfully, to his credit, was because he saw this was not going well on the feet. Let me take this shit to the ground. And that's exactly what happened. So when you look at that fight overall, if the fight had stayed standing, clearly Vicente Luque, I believe, would have won. Even though Vicente looked a little flat to me. They didn't look the same. He looked strange coming into this fight. I expected a better version of Vicente Luque. Now, did he not have the best camp? Whatever the case may be, I don't know. But there's something missing. I feel like I didn't see the Luque, the electricity, that pop that I saw in the Luque from the Chiesa fight, for example. So I want to see Belal Muhammad, fight a guy in the top 3 now, probably. Maybe Colby Covington, maybe Khamzat Chimaev, So he did call out both of them, right, if I'm not mistaken, after the fight. So that should be fun to see. But let's break it down a little bit, right? So we go into these stats round per round. And the thing about Belal Muhammad in this fight is there almost seemed to have been one highly critical takedown in each of the 5 rounds. At least one in every round, right? So Belal gets a takedown in round 1. He's 1 for 1. And he started like 4 for 4, 5 for 5, if I'm not mistaken, on takedowns in the fight, which is very fucking insane. And Vicente Luque, a stat that they threw out in the fight was Vicente Luque had only been taken down 3 times in his UFC career. 3 times. Belal Muhammad took him down 5 times in this fight. And he started 4 for 4, 5 for 5. Think about how insane that is. Think about the credit we would have to give to Belal Muhammad for that, because it's very impressive. So we go back to round 1, and, Vicente won 14-9 on the significant strikes. All those being in the stand-up, right, where, again, Luque looked better. But Belal was, the takedown. That was everything. So 1 for 1 on that. Held him down and rode out the round for a long time. Because, again, he was taking him down, but he wasn't really doing anything with the takedown. It's more of like a similar to a Colby Covington style. Different fighters, but similar in the takedown aspect, in the terms of like when he's on the ground, he's not really going to finish you. There's no threat of being finished or like crazy ground and pounded or anything. You know what I mean? So you still win the round when you do that. Nonetheless, you still win the round, right? Round 2, same thing. Significant strikes. Belal actually had the advantage, because at this point, Luque is looking at the threat of the takedown, and it's opening up the striking for Belal Muhammad. So Belal is now up 16-15 in the significant strike department in round 2. And he also gets that takedown, that crucial takedown. 1 for 1 on that one, right? So he's 2 for 2 now overall. Wins that round, similar to round 1 in a way. Round 3, Belal gets a takedown again. Luque outstrikes him 24-9. on the feet, standing up. You could have maybe given this round to Luque, but the difference was maybe round 3 or 4 you could have given to Luque, but the difference was in those rounds is the takedown. It just felt like Belal Muhammad had control of the fight. You know what I mean? On the ground especially. So maybe you give that one to Luque. Round 4, maybe you want to give that one to Luque too. I don't see it. Belal had the takedown again and was able to sort of ride out the round, control the rest of the round in round 4. So at this point, I have it 3-1 Belal going into round 5. That's just me. Maybe some people might have it 2-2. But there's no controversy in this fight because regardless of whether you had it 2-2 or 3-1, in round 5, Belal Muhammad won the round. 13-11 in significant strikes. Again, 1-for-1 in the takedowns. 100%. So the takedowns were there all day. Belal was getting those takedowns on Luque at will, which to me was surprising, which to me, I retort back to, Luque looked weird. He looked flat. You know what I mean? So round 5, Belal won that fucking round. So Belal won the fight. Belal won the fight. You want to argue 4-1, 3-2, whatever the case may be. Now let's move on. Let's look ahead. You look at the state of the welterweight division, and where do these two guys particularly fit into the equation? Right? So if we pull up the welterweight rankings, we have the pound-for-pound king, who was the champion of that division. Unfortunately for all the contenders, Kamaru Usman, the guy's a nightmare. And we all know this. We got Colby Covington too, though. A super contender, if you will. One of the best number 1 contenders on the planet, maybe the best contender in the world. Is Colby one of the best non-champion fighters in the world? He's definitely in the top 3 of that conversation, right? Leon Edwards. Leon is about to fight for a title. So, I think Usman wins that fight, but we're going to find out. So, Leon, you got to take him out because Leon's already in there. We're going to find out. Khamzat Chimaev, right? We got Khamzat Chimaev. Yeah, they could be fighting one of those guys. So, Colby Covington or Khamzat Chimaev, right, is a guy that Luque and Muhammad could be fighting. Or not Luque, Belal Muhammad could be fighting. Belal Muhammad could, potentially be looking at one of those two guys next. Here's what I think the perfect fight is as I'm moving down the list now to number 4 in the division. Gilbert Burns. I think Gilbert Burns is the perfect fight. You look at Gilbert and, Belal just had a fight. Probably going to want to take some time off, right? A few months at the very least. Gilbert just had a fight. Probably going to want to take some time off, a few months at the very least as well, right? Both guys didn't get Gilbert, took damage because it was a war. So Gilbert might take, 6 months off at least, maybe. But why not book Belal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns next? You book Belal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns, and you do Colby Covington versus Khamzat Chimaev.